Well, we have now asked every member on this panel here on Get Up the biggest question they have entering training camps. Dan, we'll start with you.
Yeah, right now we have 6 potential or future Hall of Famers playing at quarterback position. 2 of them, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. We actually get it done. At some point, these 2 great players that have won 3 MVPs combined, but are 0-3 in AFC championship games together, can you finally find a way, one of you 2, to get to the Super Bowl and win it?
By the way, the NFL primetime music has me getting out of my seat. I love it. Jeremy Fowler, what's your biggest question?
Peter, who are the Browns starting at quarterback? What exactly are they doing at quarterback? You have a division with Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow, and you're rolling out Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and a 3rd and 5th round pick to compete for a starting job. I'm going to be at Browns camp. I have no idea what to expect from Kevin Stefanski.
D. Wood, your biggest question entering training camp.
Who is Jared Goff without
go.
Ben Johnson? Listen, Jared Goff has been an absolute baller since he's been in Detroit, but we all know there's been the Detroit Lions have experienced a brain drain primarily with Ben Johnson moving over to be the head coach of the Chicago Bears. We're going to find out this year, was it Ben Johnson or is Jared Goff still that dude in the Motor City?
Story?
I can't wait to take that one down.
All right, we're going to talk about it. Story of the day is right here from our great Jeremy Fowler, who has polled more than 50 NFL executives, coaches, and scouts, and has put together a top 10 NFL quarterback list. And then, again, this is not from us. This is not from Jeremy. This is from executives, coaches, and scouts. Take a second to digest, folks. Here is the top 10. Look at all those names. Consider the names that are not on this list. But number 1, the top dog sitting in that perch, still Patrick Mahomes. Let's go to Jeremy here because you polled more than 50 executives in crafting this list, and Patrick Mahomes comes in at number 1. However, unlike other years, seems like the door's cracked a little bit. Give some context, Jeremy Fowler, on what it is with Patrick Mahomes number 1, but why this is a little different than years prior.
Peter, the door is open slightly. Mahomes still garnered 60% of the first place votes. That is significant. So he has staved off Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen. But that grip is slipping slightly because of the dominance, that he hasn't really put up the same numbers in the last 2 years. 8th in QBR the last 2 years. He used to dominate, always first or second in that category. That Super Bowl loss in Philadelphia was sobering to a lot of people, the way the Chiefs' offense have looked. Now, a lot of people pointed out Mahomes probably played quarterback better than he had in a long time, dealing with all the adversity that he had with Travis Kelce not being his best, O-line problems, wide receiver injuries. He managed the game really well. And we're talking about 17 wins last year, including playoffs in a down year. So he's still the guy. But we're in a golden era of quarterbacks right now with these other guys who are winning MVPs, and everybody's in their late 20s, ready to seize the day, and they're coming after him, and they're getting closer.
Dan Orlovsky, is Patrick Mahomes still, clearly and obviously, the best quarterback in the NFL?
No, I mean, Patrick, out of that group of 4, the top 4, he was 4th last year in the league when it comes to just watching them play. The gap has never been this ridiculously big gap when it comes to Patrick, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow. All 3 of those guys had better seasons last year than Patrick did, yes. But there is the reality that Patrick, not once, not twice, but 3 or 4 times, has played his absolute best when it's been needed the most. Those other 3 guys haven't necessarily done that. And so is Patrick the best at the position? He's still the top dog when it comes to you got to go be your very best when it's needed the most. When it comes to the ability to play, those guys have always been kind of nipping at his heels. Josh Allen's coming off the best season of his career in an MVP. Lamar Jackson's coming off of probably the best season of his career and arguably could have been the MVP. Joe Burrow's coming off of the best season of his career. So the gap has never been that big. But the difference is those 3 haven't been their very best when it's been needed like Patrick has.
Damien, why aren't you so quick to dethrone Mahomes? Like, everyone knows that those other 3 quarterbacks are coming in the AFC, but you have a different take on this thing.
Dano listed all these things about those other 3 quarterbacks, but who represented the AFC in the Super Bowl?
Sure.
With arguably the worst offensive cast in the Patrick Mahomes era. Think about it. Okay, we got a diminishing Travis Kelce. We had offensive line issues, a guard playing tackle, for the Kansas City Chiefs. the weapons of Hollywood Brown being injured, all these things. Rashee Rice breaking in a rookie wide receiver. Yeah. And all Patrick Mahomes did was take the Kansas City Chiefs to the Super Bowl. So, yes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, all great quarterbacks. But you have to climb Mount Mahomes in order to get there. And now I haven't seen it yet. You got to go out there and show me.
Well, but that's what makes the conversation at least relatively interesting is specifically Josh and Lamar. They've played themselves into the category, the burden, the weight of it doesn't necessarily really matter that much anymore how great you are in the regular season.
No doubt.
You got to go get it done, and you got to go beat Patrick when it matters the most. So Josh, who was sensational last season, and then Lamar, who was great last season, they're 0-3 in the AFC title games. They got 3 MVPs between them, and they're 0-3 in the AFC title games. And so there is something to be said for, while their play, you can make the argument that Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in football when it comes to a certain style, or Lamar. You have to play your best when it's needed and beat Patrick when it's win or go home. And until they do that, as much as I love them, they can't dethrone him. But they don't get into the conversation with him truly until that happens.
It gets a little murky because you're talking about individual quarterback play and then team results, right? You're saying, well, also the Chiefs defense stopped Josh Allen at the end. So it becomes a different conversation. But Jeremy Fowler, I ask you, if you were to pick one person right now and you were to say one name, who is playing the quarterback position at the highest level as we enter the 2025 season?
Yeah, Peter, the people I've talked to around the league firmly believe that Joe Burrow is playing the quarterback position the best, but he's not the most feared. Those other quarterbacks we're talking about, their fear factor is thick when you go against coordinators. How are we going to stop them, not only with their arm, with their mobility? Burrow doesn't quite have that, but when we're talking about decision-making, accuracy, eye level, all the nuances that my guy Orlovsky loves, people around the league believe that Burrow is the very best at that. And look, are they wasting his talent in Cincinnati? I don't know if they're quite there yet, but the pipes are bursting a little bit. They're always putting out leaks or holes in Cincinnati, whether it's the O-line or the bad defense. But they have a quarterback that can win it all for them and win an MVP. He looks primed for it.
I think if you're Cincinnati, you don't want people to look back years from now upon Joe Burrow's time there and be like, and have very similar feelings to what people did with Matthew Stafford in Detroit. I mean, Joe Burrow was the 3rd quarterback ever to throw for 40 touchdowns and miss the playoffs. Breeze and Marino did it. I mean, they were 3-4 in games that they scored 33 last year. So no question he's playing it as good as anybody. That being said, they are wasting it. I said it last season. They're wasting not only Joe, but Jamar. And so that's, again, who's playing it the best? As great as Joe was last year, you can make the case that there was the slow start as a team. And so you got to get past that.
And listen, if you're asking me who's playing the quarterback the purest out of everyone, it's Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow. I'm talking about, we can get into the whole, who's playing above the X's and O's, who's doing all the
But that has to matter.
But I'm talking about from the neck up, diagnosing, playing with accuracy, with anticipation, all of the. Give me Joe Burrow. Give me Joe Burrow.
Here's my pushback to that. I do think that we as a football world have to stop just constantly saying from the neck up. Because quarterback nowadays isn't just from the neck up. And there's a priority that has been placed upon your ability to get yourself out of bad and make good or be utilized as a threat athletically that is different than it was 20 years ago. So neck up is part of the equation. It's not the only one anymore. Joe has 2 elite receivers. Lamar's got a ton of weapons. You can make the case that Josh did more with less last year.
I was going to say Josh was the MVP last year. We're not even talking
about Lamar could have won it and Joe could have won it.
But they didn't. Josh Allen did.
Totally. That's why we're in an era right now that is nuts.
In New York City, we're having a ball over here. Time for Monday Dan. We have Dan Orlovsky jump into some of the NFL's biggest storylines. It's only July, but there are questions that need to be answered. Dan Orlovsky, what do you say about Trevor Lawrence?
Is Trevor Lawrence going to become more than average? That's what he's been the last 3 years. It's been a little bit of turmoil up and down. His QBR in the last 3 seasons has 16, 17, and 15. New head coach Liam Cohen, one of the bright offensive minds in the NFL. They've got a guy that was offensive rookie of the year caliber in Brian Thomas Jr., obviously the addition of Travis Hunter. Can he get more consistent? Can he lead like he hasn't done before? Can he become a difference maker for Jacksonville under the most pressure out of any quarterback in that conference?
Well, Fowler, he's won a playoff game, but it's been a long time. Is Trevor Lawrence in danger of maybe being a bust?
Peter, not a bust, not helping himself, though. When you talk to people in Jacksonville, they'll say, look, we still believe in him, but there's that feeling around there that's like, hey, you're on your third head coach in 4 to 5 years now. It's time to get this done and be more consistent week in, week out. He shows the flashes, but then he'll have weeks where you're thinking, hey, is this a Thursday or a Sunday that we're playing here? So, bit of a mess. And Jacksonville hasn't always helped him, but he's got to play better. He has to be more accurate.
He would. Trevor Lawrence, I say that name. What comes to mind for you?
Now or never. Like, bro, the excuses are over with. You're getting paid too much money to be going out there and putting that type of product out there. I don't want to hear, I don't want to hear about the past or whatever. Like now, it's right now. Liam Cohen is in Jacksonville because of you, to fix you. If you can't get it done, that's bust material in my opinion.
All right, now, Trevor Lawrence was a first overall pick. So was Bryce Young. He's entering the 3rd season of his career. Dan Orlovsky, Monday Dan, your thoughts on Bryce Young?
What happens if he's great? Then we have a whole new situation going on, not only in that division, but the NFC. If you go back to the end of last season, one team really pushed both Super Bowl contenders to the brink in games. It was the Carolina Panthers pushing Philly, and it was the Carolina Panthers pushing the Kansas City Chiefs, in part because of the play of Bryce Young. 2 really talented, big physical receivers on the outside, and Xavier Legette and Tet McMillan, their rookie out of Arizona. Can Bryce Young use the back end of last season to really springboard under Dave Canales? I think they're going to have one of the better and most dominant offensive lines and run games in the NFL. Plenty of people to throw the football to right now. What happens if Bryce Young actually is that first pick overall talent? Carolina's going to be a rocket ship.
D. Wood, your thoughts on Bryce Young?
No, he played so well towards the end of last year. And the great thing about, like, they didn't really have any defense. Like, they were going toe-to-toe with both Kansas City and Philadelphia. And with the additions that they've made in Carolina, man, if he takes all, this momentum goes from the end of last year, now you start talking about, okay, Caleb Williams, when is your term as the guy who was picked number 1 to get things going?
Yeah.
Interesting. Jeremy Fowler, you've got sources everywhere. What are you hearing on Bryce Young?
I got Bryce Young as a sneaky 4,000-yard passer this year.
Wow,
Assuming Carolina gets that running game going, which they plan to, then the throwing windows will be there and Young will deliver. He's got a ceiling. The size is an issue. I hate to deduce it to that, but when I look at my top 10 list, all those quarterbacks are bigger than him. The top 8 are a lot bigger than him. So how far can he take it is my question. But the confidence was at an ultra high late in the year. Dave Canales sensed that, so they're going to keep giving him more and more throws.
Dan, you have one more, and it's about a quarterback out in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Got paid. What is your Monday Dan thoughts on Brock Purdy?
That it has been to start your NFL career. As a quarterback, it's hard to sit there and go, walked into a better situation and find one than Brock Purdy. To Brock Purdy's credit, he has been outstanding. It's a little bit of a different world now. The roster's been depleted. The pieces have been taken away. So can you now go to that next level where maybe you're not just a ball distributor point guard, but you can carry some of the burden, because that's what happens when you get to that second level contract type of thing. So Christian McCaffrey's health is absolutely paramount. When he's on the field, McCaffrey's less aggressive, gets the ball to his hand, doesn't take as many sacks. I think his performance is attached to McCaffrey being on the field, but I want to see, can Brock Purdy kind of even ascend to a different conversation rather than you're a product of the Shanahan system?
D. Wood, forever it's been Mr. Irrelevant, the underdog. Once you get paid, that narrative has to be erased. So what do you make of this new version, Brock Purdy 2.0, with the money?
You took it right out of my mouth. Like, all of that 7th-round pick is out the window.
Yeah.
You're one of the highest-paid players, highest-paid quarterbacks in the National
It's no
Football League.
longer a Cinderella story.
Right. Now, the expectation level raises to a whole different stratosphere. Yes, we know Kyle Shanahan is one of the best, and most innovative play callers that we have in our game. But all the top signal callers are able to elevate guys around him. You talked about Christian McCaffrey being a guy that helps elevate him. will he be able to elevate the other guys around him? That's what we need to see.
You know, I think back to the playoffs a couple years ago where he led them. He
Yeah.
threw them on his back. They beat the Lions because Brock Purdy was not just a passenger on the ride. He was the driver. Jeremy Fowler, you do this top 10 poll of quarterbacks. I don't see Brock Purdy's name on it. What's the perception around Purdy around the league? Because he is paid as if he is one of those guys.
Peter, the perception is that he is a middle-of-the-road starter. He's probably 14 to 16 out of 32. I was surprised by that. I thought he would have earned more. He's got the limitations with the size and maybe doesn't have the arm strength of some of these other quarterbacks. But I go back to this. Kyle Shanahan, one of the most brilliant minds in the game, has put all his chips in on Brock Purdy financially and on the field. They are now forever linked, and now Purdy's asked to handle the 49ers offense. It was kind of a mini rebuild. They've gotten younger at several spots. They've been salary cap strapped. They've lessened the books there in that area where they've moved on from several key veterans. They're simply not as good this year. Purdy's going to have to carry him. Shanahan believes that he can.
Dan, what's Purdy have to do to justify that dollar sign?
Well, I think he's got to be a reason they win games. You know, I do think it's fair to say that they've won a lot of games with Brock Purdy, and he's had certainly some moments, but you have to be the person that, hey, we're down Christian and we're down George and our defense gave up 28. You still win the game because Brock was so good. And I think, can he do that a couple more times in a season? That will quiet some of that noise around maybe some of the doubt that still lingers.